Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the All-Star Pole Vault competition here in Bordeaux. And we are just witnessing the athlete introductions. We have an all-star cast, hence the name, here in France. And over the years, it has always delivered as a fine competition and really kick-starting the pole vault rankings over the course of the indoor campaign. And certainly the one to watch for us today is going to be the French favorite, Marie-Julie Bonny, the world indoor champion from 2025 last year. And it was 12 months ago she opened her campaign here in Bordeaux and just built and built and built week after week and ended in that emphatic world indoor title with a lifetime best of 475 as well. So what will she do today? How has she fared over what was a breakthrough season for her on the global stage? She had a busy summer, couldn't quite replicate that form at the World Championships, but is still going from strength to strength. So you can get a real sense of the atmosphere here as well, and they do put on a show. It's pole vaulting at its absolute best here in Bordeaux. We love the atmosphere in this arena, this basketball arena. It is so intimate, and for me, this is how the sport should be broadcast. We thank the officials and those responsible. You can see them getting the walkout under the lights, under the flames. As without those, this meeting would not be possible. And a few innovative figures out there as well. They know how pole vault should be broadcasted. It should be presented to fans like you and me at home. And so we've had athletes compete all day here. In fact, even yesterday as well. We've had hundreds of pole vaulters embark on Bordeaux to come here and compete. I mentioned it kick-started yesterday, and this morning at 9 o'clock there were various pools competing as well, and it is all built up to this one, the big one, the elites, the men and women fields. Tonight both will compete alongside each other. You can see there's two runways laid out for them as well, both starting under the scoreboard here in Bordeaux. It is really one of a kind. And actually, I've had the pleasure of commentating on this event over the last couple of years, and it continues to just grow in stature, continues to compile a world-class field time after time and engage an audience, a young audience as well. All the junior competitions happened over the last 24 hours. So I think it might finally be time to meet some of the athletes here in Bordeaux. Certainly the announcer, trackside, is enjoying himself. He knows what it means. He knows how big this competition is for the town of Bordeaux and the club. Well, here is the Frenchman named Palas. Isaac Palas comes out with a mask as well. Looks more like a wrestler than a pole vaulter today. Some of the theatrics that we will enjoy throughout the evening, that's for sure, as he welcomes a few fans in their hundreds here. And this is a big opportunity for Palas. I mean, last year competed in the B final, now stepping up to the A final. 5:45, his lifetime best. So just listen to that, and I believe this could be Emma Bretzel coming out. It is another athlete. Season's best of 398, ignore that. Lifetime best of 443. You've got to be near enough world class to make it into this field. And Brentel is certainly that. So it seems there is a theme running through, and we won't see the athletes' full identities until the competition truly gets underway. Well, Alexander Unafreo there of Ukraine, just 24 years of age, former medalist at junior level at the European Championships, and a lifetime best of 570 at those European team champs last year in Madrid. He is one of the leading vaulters in Ukraine currently. And who does it like this? We've never witnessed this before. They truly are the best in the business. The showmanship is shining through. Albain Dordainen, just another of the elite French vaulters, 446 her lifetime best. And she's a regular at meetings like this, these all-star pole vault competitions. And they have so many of them in France, and a lot of it is credit to the coaching. And of course, figures like Renaud Lavillenie, his brother, will be here today. Valentin Lavillenie, introduce him when he makes his way out from the dungeon almost in the darkness there. Tristan Dupre, the European Under-23 Championships. He took silver on that occasion just last year, cleared 560, and actually lost to a man who we hope to see in this field tonight. Simone Bertelli of Italy won that title. So those two have an ongoing rivalry that we will look forward to unfolding right at the start of 2026 as well. They'll be back at it, and Dupre will want revenge this time around. So athletes being treated like the rock stars they are, really. I mean, it is mesmerizing what these athletes can do, what is required to be a pole vaulter. Well, Berenice Pete did 4:55, her lifetime best. She won in Luxembourg just last week. She'll certainly be one to watch. Picked up a silver at the World University Games as well in 2025. Certainly a promising year for her. Can she carry that momentum into 2026 as well? Well, Lisa Molinarolo of Italy, another one to watch out for, 4:46, her lifetime best. And look at this. This is a runway and a half. A rather unusual runway. They won't often move at this pace. Much, much faster once we get going here in Bordeaux. But the Italian, very, very strong in her own nation. A solid performer, and we'll just be looking to build on the circuit, get a bit more experience, and perhaps even PB this early on in the season. It tends not to matter too much. A lot of these pole vaulters bottle up all their energy through those early winter months off the back of a long summer. And here is the other Italian in Simone Bertelli. I mentioned he won the European Under-23 Championships last year. He's a former junior champion as well at the Europeans. And he has a great rivalry, doesn't he? Against the prey, who will be wanting revenge. So there's some of the key figures. I mean, Bertelli, a lifetime best of 570. The two had a great year. Marina Kilipko makes her way out. And look at this. This is how it should be done, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Kilipko soaking it up. This has got to be pre-planned. And the athletes are really engaging with it. Often athletes can be quite introverted. Don't want to show their cards too much. You know, pre a competition like this, they'll be nervous. They'll be very locked in, but actually they are all buying into this. And this is new, and World Athletics, take note. This is how events really should be broadcast. Well, Valentin Lebelinidin then, well, he will be one of the big hitters today. He's certainly been there and done it. 34 years of age now. What's he got left in his career? A lifetime best of 5 meters in 85 centimeters. That was back in 2022. And around that time, he got some European silverware in 2021, didn't he? Second indoors at his very best. So how will the Frenchman fare today? Well, and here's the Swiss athlete, sole Swiss athlete here today. Pascal Stocklin. 460, her best. And has been to all the majors with a mark like that. Of course she has. The Olympics, the World Championships, both Paris and Tokyo recently. Doing well to become one of the best in Switzerland. That will be her aim over the next year or two. And often to try and make a global final as well. Well, Keaton Daniel, a very interesting prospect, assistant coach at Kentucky University, where he studied and where he won that NCAA title a couple years back now. 580, his lifetime best. Coincidentally, the school record at the University of Kentucky as well. So working alongside his longtime coach, Chris Grimes, who is the head coach at Kentucky. Well, who's next? Any guesses? Imogen Iris makes her way out, the Kiwi. A long stopover for the European Tour. 467 last year. That lifetime best came indoors as well. Previous bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games. Can she get on the podium again in 2026? Pedro Briaro, the Portugueseman. He's the Portuguese record holder as well, 582 indoors. He's gone higher indoors than he has outdoors. That's common. It's common for a lot of athletes in the pole vault. You haven't got to battle the elements and try and negotiate. The wind is always a bit of a factor as well, but even just the cold, they're well warmed up. 575 outdoors though, still very, very respectable. It does come here with a victory from Lisbon just a couple of weeks ago as well. 552, so a good steady opening mark for him. Margot Severe, a French bowler, 463, her lifetime best. And she is another one. You just look at the depth France have. It's not just in pole vaulting, by the way. It's just in all the events. They are becoming an absolute powerhouse in track and field. And I suppose they always have been to an extent, but it just feels far more prominent in recent years. And I think it is because at the pointy end, where it matters, those podiums at global championships, we're seeing more and more French flags fly. Chevrier is another one who will look to be making those global finals to come. Anthony Amarati then, he needs no introduction. The crowd will know exactly who is behind that mask. Look at this. Wow, puff of the cheeks. Is that fire coming out of him? Could well have been, hey? Under 20 national record holder, and he's still looking to get back to that sort of level, and I think he's getting closer and closer. 581. And he did just miss out on that Olympic final. And I'm sure that's a memory that plays over and over in his head. It does for the very best. Juliana Campos of Brazil, 476 outdoors. Was actually one of the leading contenders at the World Championships in the heats, wasn't she, through qualification? Key figure down in Brazil to inspire the next generation of vaulters. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do. So then finally, only a few athletes still remain in the darkness. Robin Ami coming out, and it's very interesting. I wonder if they've chosen their songs, their walkout songs. And those in Britain would have surely witnessed the darts championships. It's very, very similar to that. It looks like it's been inspired from the darts at the Ali Pali, and I'm here for it. I really am. Robin Ami, 592 when he's at his best. Well, there she is, your world champion from 12 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, Marie-Julie Bonny of France. 8th at the World Championships in Tokyo in the summer, but the world indoor champion in Nanjing, China, and that is a memory that will live on amongst this lot, the crowd and the fans who consistently come out and watch her here at this meeting. She is a regular year after year as well. She lives here, she trains here, she is Bordeaux through and through. And she's one of the big reasons why a lot of people would have turned out to come and witness her tonight, that's for sure. Her coach, Daniel Dosievi, former Olympic pole vaulter himself. I'm sure he will be trackside. When he spoke about when she won that world title, speaking about the challenges and the change in coaching setup, which led to that big improvement over the last 12 months. Well, there's full confirmation of your lineup on the screen. You can see dominated by French athletes, as you would expect. And that lineup is probably how they will take on this competition as well, how they'll start the competition. It is the running order, if you like. I imagine Emma Brentel will go first on the women's side, and first of all on the men's will be Isaac Palas. Both of those two, huge opportunity for them to compete in front of this crowd and alongside these world-class figures that they are. I mean, they're both credible French stars and French athletes on the domestic level, and starting to break in. You know, can they get closer and closer to making a national team at the European Championships or even a World Championships? Have to wait till next year for that. 2027 awaits in Beijing, and before you know it, it'll be another Olympic year. And the Paris Olympics will be a distant memory as we look ahead to LA. So the athletes will continue to just warm up, get nice and limber, and then we'll look ahead to see what the bar will start at. I mean, an athlete like Marie-Julie Bonny will just be, it's a waiting game for her now. She'll have to pass probably the best part of an hour in time, and you know, wait for several of these athletes to enter the competition and then probably exit the competition as well before she comes in. However, it is early season. And early season, I do believe athletes, they want to get a few more vaults in, perhaps even just train their endurance and their expertise, work on some technical aspects a little more. You know, they have a few free hits, if you like, free attempts. Means they can take a few risks on those early attempts, really feel things out. And, you know, if you are an athlete like Julie Bonny, you have to think about going the distance. If you're at a major championships, you don't know how long that competition could go on for, back and forth, and you've got to build up the ability to have 10, 12 jumps in you, if not more, really, to win a world title. She will know more than anyone. So it really is a pretty mouth-watering arena, but we'll hear from the hosts just quickly.
Marion, est-ce que tu peux nous dire un petit peu comment s'est passée cette organisation? Vous commencez à être bien rodé sur l'organisation, comment ça a été?
Oui, c'est vrai que c'est la 7e édition maintenant. Bon, on a l'habitude, mais ça reste toujours de l'événementiel, donc il y a toujours des imprévus. Là, cette année, on a mis un peu le paquet sur un peu d'animation différente. Donc cette année, le thème, c'est le catch. Et on a vu qu'il y a eu une entrée en matière assez sympa.
Et petite question supplémentaire, est-ce que c'est MJ qui a choisi ce thème? Est-ce qu'elle a proposé ou comment ça s'est passé?
Alors nous, en fait, on est une équipe, vraiment, on est un groupe de perchistes qui organisons vraiment l'événement en général avec le support du Bordeaux Athlé, vraiment le club labellisé. Et c'est vrai que chaque année on choisit un thème. Bon, forcément le catch on connaît pas grand chose, moi je connais rien. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui connaissent rien, mais MJ elle est trop fan de catch. Elle a dit vas-y on va faire découvrir le catch au grand public. Et puis voilà, il y a un présentateur de catch. Ça va être un peu différent, on apporte un peu de nouveauté, on verra si ça plaît. En tout cas on essaye, on fait des choses nouvelles et c'est un peu notre ADN à Bordeaux.
Super, merci beaucoup.
Well, some of the hosts and the legends and the people responsible for this very meeting, and I always welcome something a little different, something a little new. And you know, we have an amazing sport, an amazing product in track and field, but to really give the athletes the attention and the exposure they deserve, one does wonder if competitions like this are the future for not just pole vault, but also other events, whether it be jumps, throws, and distance races, branching out on their own and generating their own core fan base, if you like, just like we've got here in this fantastic arena. And often the major championships are broadcasted in such a way, you want all the stars under one roof in one stadium, but I'm just referring to throughout the season. You know, these men and women will be inspiring athletes for many. And they want the opportunity to enjoy them and see them compete a full competition, a full series of jumps, not just one or two that we might be lucky enough to capture in the traditional Tour or Diamond League. So the Ukrainian, Marina Kalipko, will go first. And it's a very solid clearance for her, and they like it. They like it, and the stadium erupts, if you like. The first clearance here at the All-Star Pole Vault meeting in Bordeaux. And rightly so, it was fairly routine, wasn't it, for her? Kalipko. She enjoyed that one, and it will just alternate. Male, female in the jumping order, that is. So 398 clearance for Kalipko there. Next up will be Margot Chevrier on the women's side. Well, the first shot for the men's is the man from Bordeaux himself. Oh, okay. Small failure, and he'll probably know a lot of people. Palat's in the crowd watching him. We have a lot of friends and family in this arena. Not often do they get the opportunity. Track and field is a global sport, and even if it's not global, they will travel far and wide around France to compete. So not often you have a competition of this stature on your doorstep. So 398, the bar will start at Margot Chevrier, also of Bordeaux. 440. Ooh, okay. Just a little messy, wasn't it, from her? But first attempt, we won't hold that against her, and they've got to be able to brush it off. Absorb what just happened. It's one of the skills in pole vault. Sometimes you can have access to your coach, sometimes not. The coach might not always be able to travel. And one of the skills is actually having the awareness and the analytical ability to figure out the technical mistakes you've just made in a very, very fast-paced environment. Sometimes you try and correct yourself, even in the air. I think that's one of the skills that is overlooked in pole vault. It is definitely that aerial awareness that these athletes train. You almost have to train like a gymnast or a trampolinist to really understand how your body moves 4, 5, 6 meters even if you are up in the air like that. So failure first time around. Well, relax, obviously. And I believe he'll go straight into that second attempt, which is interesting, which does suggest that no one else has opted to come in at 5 meters and 5 centimeters. So just Pilar. Second attempt for him. Live results, by the way, if you're watching on the global feed from Athletic France, a fantastic database. Many athlete profiles on there as well, but you can follow along live on where that bar exactly is. So Pilar is, I wanted to say up and over, but not quite. One more attempt for this man. He needs to give them a show. He'll want to give them a show. Pressure mounting a little bit. I think he knows that as well. He's the only one to have entered the competition now, and he would hate to not be involved in that next round. Interested to see what increments the bar goes up in. 15 or 20 centimeters will be launched straight to 525. And we will go to 515 on that men's side. And the women, essentially, it's looking like it could go 20 centimeters, just with the quality that we have in this field. So here goes Chevret. Good on the run up, has to transfer that speed, yes! It's a vertical height, and she has done it. Relief to get one done and over, and now she can almost enjoy. Others will enter the competition. Pressure's off her a little bit. You can tell you want to impress this crowd. You want to get them fired up. Honestly, I just think I'm surprised we don't see more stars of the pole vaulting world embark on Bordeaux each year. You look at this stadium, this arena I should call it, and just the crowd and the knowledge of them and the engagement. The presentation of this event is unique. And it's certainly going to be enjoyable. So then this is going to be the third and final attempt. He's got a minute. Pilar's. Pressure on. Starts in the darkness there. Will come into the light, will attack the planting board. Need to get up over this height. It is certainly a height he can handle. He's been there plenty of times before. I mentioned last year he was in the B final. Today he stepped up into this elite field. He wants to give a good account of himself early on in 2026. So here he goes. Third and final attempt for the man from Bordeaux. He's up and over, and he's made it look easy. Bows to the crowd, almost thanking them for their support. They certainly carried him up and over that bar, I think. Often you'll see this in pole vault. Athletes will need, look at the height clearance there. I mean, that is staggering. And his best did come in one of these competitions, actually. 5:45 and recently as well, 5:31. So Emma Bredsel's going to come in 4 meters in 13 centimeters. So the bar just going up 15 centimeters for these women. I thought it might go up 20 or so. What's Brentsell got on this first attempt? Oh, well, definitely had the speed and pretty much had the height. Just lost a little bit of that aerial ability when she was up there, just to arc her body in a way that was going to get her up and over that bar. But I don't think she'll be too concerned. Getting a little bit of advice and analysis from the coach there. So this will pass over back to Pilar, who is going to go again. Of course, men and women just taking a turn in the bar. 520, so 15 centimeters increase. 520 for Pilar. The prey set to come in on this height as well, we think, and of course Martin Bordeaux of Hungary. So here he goes. Well, he's just ignited this crowd early on by clearing that 5 meters and 5 centimeters on that third attempt. Now carry that momentum, not just through the runway, but through the competition itself. Oh, well, he's getting closer and closer. And that was a nice step up. That was closer than his first attempt. At 5:05, I can say that much. Just clipping it with his shins on the way out, wasn't he, really? You know, you think about that as he discusses what he can improve with his coach. You know, the upper body strength that these athletes need, the core strength required, really, to control that pole and perform the inversions they do. Staggering. So here's Dordan. Up and over, made it look easy on attempt 1 in those famous Bordeaux colours. Alban Dordan. Good to see her making light work of that, really. 446 vault at her best. One of the most consistent vaulters, Dordan, really. Around that 430 mark. Very, very consistent, time after time. So then Tristan Dupre starting his campaign here. 520, well within his grasp as well. Can he do in those first attempts? Yes, and that was near perfect. Look at that, just the way he landed. He didn't veer to the left or right at all. Horizontal speed into the vertical speed. And just look at that for technical ability. Aerial awareness up there. Arcs up, and that is absolutely spot on. If he can only go on to replicate that through the rest of this competition, I mean, technically, he's looking pretty much at his very, very best. It was such a tidy vault. Berenice Pate then enters the competition as well. Good plant and gets the height. Up and over, so couple clear on the first attempt in this women's competition. Dane and Berenice Pate. So I thought this might be a height that several men actually enter the competition. And partly because it's just, if the bar keeps going up in 15 centimeter increments, you want to get to your 540s relatively fresh. Here's Bordeaux. Oh, well, that was easy. Had a lot of energy return out of the pole there, didn't he? You can see, pushed him a lot further into that mat. Well, even just the lighting they do, sort of dim that lighting early on, it's very, exciting for this crowd. Well, great clearance from him. Just fantastic energy return from that pole. Well, Marina Klipko, the Ukrainian, it's her time now. The Olympian as well. Fifth place back in Rio 2016, so been on the circuit for a very long time, it doesn't it show. Clearance attempt number 1 there for Klipko. Another athlete who was just able to hang in the air, although did come down, actually was closer than it initially looked. I think that was partly because her clearance was so good, but needs to get a bit more depth on that vault. I'm sure a correction she'll be making when it steps up to 425 or so. Wow, another Ukrainian to go clear, this time on the men's runway. Alexander Unafreo just making that look so easy, so relaxed. Mentioned former bronze medalist at the European Under-20 Championships. We've got a number of men and women who have gone through those European Junior Champs, those European Under-23 Champs, used them as platforms to really excel and push on in their careers. So here's Chevret. Oh, not to be. Way off it. But only her first attempt, so we'll have another 2. Took her the 2 to get over 398. As another local man in Palas awaits to get his nod to start his second attempt. 3 to go clear at 5:05. Graphic there just suggesting that the bar's gone up to 5:35, and Palas is going to attempt that. Mentioned before, had a failure at 5:20, so intrigued to see if the bar has gone up. It would make sense, everyone else has gone clear bar him. So has he just jumped to 5:35? Here he goes, second attempt, whatever it is. Just knocking it, but came close. Came close, and sometimes, obviously, vaulters will change the length of their pole. And if he's been training on slightly longer poles and used to them, he might just think, you know what, longer poles, let's have a crack at something special. Let's have a crack at something big. But just nicking that one on the way up. Here we are. You can actually see confirmation 5:20 there, second attempt. So he'll have one more at 5:20. Well, light work there from Campos, wasn't it? The Brazilian inspiring another generation down there. Another athlete who been on the circuit, but perhaps an athlete who, that 2016 Olympics, when it was in Rio, was enough to inspire her. You think of what Thiago Braz did, lifted a nation with his success there, and potentially Campos is a product of that Olympic Games. Like so many, I'm sure, in the crowd tonight, and those members of the French public who were lucky enough to witness what was an absolutely staggering Olympic Games. What is now 2 years ago, can you believe it? Time in track and field moves fast. The sport moves at an incredibly fast rate. We go from outdoors, we only have a few months off before we're back on the indoor circuit, and the athletes are hungry for more, demanding even more of their bodies. And we have tour events, in excess of 100 World Tour events, Diamond Leagues as well across the board. And of course, you have national championships, you have global championships, regional championships, Mediterranean Games. French athletes often competing. Well, here's Brendel. Up and over on that occasion. Wonderful to see. Huge reception from the crowd, as you expect. So, second time. Cleared on the second attempt, I should say, 4:13. Second time round. You can just see the number of poles different athletes will bring to competitions. It could be 4, 5, or 6 poles they bring. I dread to think the money that winds up moving around Europe in these poles. Awfully difficult to transport. I mean, there is some fantastic stories of pole vaulters trying to get their poles on buses and planes and on the top of cars and get to the competition on time. They haven't just got to worry about themselves, but also the kit that goes with it. I'm sure other track and field stars count themselves very, very lucky. They just have to bring themselves and maybe some spikes. So it's the third attempt for Isak Palaz. He gets his crowd going just like he did on his third attempt at 5:05. 5 meters in 20 centimeters. It'd be a shame to lose him this early on. He would have had this competition in the diary for a long, long time when he got the call up into this elite field. Making headlines. So here goes Isak Palaz. Oh, for a minute there, I thought he had good enough speed, but just in those last 2 or 3 strides, seemed to lose it and could have transferred that into the vertical height he needed. So he bows out. That's unfortunate to see a local bow out this early on, but he'll stick around. He'll enjoy the competition and he will learn from some of the very best. So this is Margot Chevrier, another athlete clearly from Bordeaux, as you can see, and with Bordeaux colours, which is one of the strongest clubs in France. Incredible setup. Operated like a governing body themselves. So Margot Chevrier, oh! She was so close, wasn't she? And she knows it. A wry smile as she gets off the mat. Time to regroup and give everything you've got in that third attempt. Well, you could just see explosiveness and the speed there of Marie-Julie Bonny on the runway, the world indoor champion. What is this not going to do when she gets going? We've already got some incredible nose levels. Well, there's Tristan Dupre. Now the bar moves to 5:35. Dupre first to attempt it. Palaz, our first casualty. First man to exit the competition. So 2 men jumped at 5:20. Both cleared it on the first attempt, and that was Dupre, who we are looking at here, and the Hungarian Bordeaux. Both of them making light work of that. So lifetime best of 5:62 just last year from Dupre. This should be routine, and it is. And I mentioned his technical ability early on when he cleared 5:20 on the first attempt. And once again, looking just as tidy on his first attempt at 5:35. Look at that, didn't quite get the clearance. Little nick on the way over, just drifting out to the left-hand side if you're being critical. Nonetheless, it's over 5:35. Well, there are the coaches and agents trackside. Talk about the level of coaching in France. I mean, it's a large reason why we're seeing such success from the athletes. Coaching is a profession. It is a recognized profession. I think there's many places around the world where that quality of coaching appears in pockets, but not across a nation. And France have done a very, very good job at developing those coaches. So Chevert on her final attempt. Can she do it? Oh, it's a shame. She bows out this time around, the Bordeaux athlete. And that is a shame. Such is the level of this competition where that bar opens up at. Maybe she would have preferred a few heights just in between that 398 and 413. Just to find her flow a little bit more. Build a bit of confidence into this competition. Boy, it's a Hungarian Bonder. Oh, and there was something he does so well. The speed he vaults at. And every vaulter will have their strength, right? That skill that makes them special. And I tell you what, Bonders is just that speed he gets up. And when he plants that pole, to when he hits the mat on the other side, we're talking seconds. Fine margins. These athletes using about 40 meters to really generate enough speed by the time they plant that pole. So time for the Ukrainian. Alexandra. FRA, good speed on the runway, good plant as well. Made it look easy. Little nick on the way up, eh? Just clipping that bar, but through at 5:35. And this is good. We're going to have several men at the mid-fives, which is always a bit of a deciding mark. How these men fare at that 550, 560, I think will determine just how far this competition is going to go. And look, early on, you know, the world lead isn't too much beyond that 570 mark. It is a Frenchman who currently has it, Thibaut Collet. 580 for him. National record, the Villani. Well, his brother's competing today. Valentin, Renaud de Villani. The impact he's had on vaulting in France. Just look at the depth. It's here in full display. Well, so here goes Bretzel. Bar at 428, almost had it. Just talk about that ability just to hold herself a little stronger in that arc position when she gets up there. And she's 4.5 meters virtually in the air. Just needed to just keep things together a little bit more because the actual height was there. Brentel will have another attempt at 428. Next female to line up will be Albain Dedin. Bordeaux local. Just seeing who's hiding on the men's runway. Simone Bertelli. Here he is, the Italian, the European Under-23 champion, opens his campaign today. Look at the class. Look at the class. He gets his crowd fired up. Well, perhaps they don't know. He pushed down the Frenchman Tristan Duprat last year at those European Under-20 championships.
C'était un concours assez compliqué parce que l'échauffement, j'ai un peu galéré à trouver mes marques. J'avais pas trop de repères. Et je pense que j'avais un peu de fatigue aussi de la minute, mais bon, après ça fait partie du jeu. Après, quand le concours a commencé, j'ai trouvé un peu des sensations sur la course, les sauts. Il fallait régler les poteaux, la perche et tout. C'est pour ça que je passe au troisième essai sur ma première barre. Et après, la barre d'après, il fallait prendre plus dur. Et bon, comme j'étais le premier à sauter, j'étais seul, donc j'ai enchaîné beaucoup. Et je pense que j'avais pas pris assez de temps de récupérer. Et je me suis un peu emballé par-ci par-là. Et c'était un peu compliqué du coup sur la fin.
C'est une question de réglage. Prochaine compétition, c'est quand pour toi?
Normalement, normalement, je vais essayer de sauter le week-end prochain aux régionaux vers Clermont. Et là, j'essaierai, voilà, comme j'ai dû prendre 16 aujourd'hui, je vais essayer de continuer sur cette lancée-là cette semaine. Et on va essayer de régler tout ça au fur et à mesure avec chaque compète et on verra bien.
On te souhaite une très bonne saison, bonne préparation, à très vite, merci.
Merci beaucoup, au revoir.
Well, just as we heard from Palaz there, it looked like Anthony Amarati just failing at 5:35 by some margin as well, actually. So we will just get that confirmed, refresh my system a little bit. Bernice Petit, failure 4:28 on that first attempt. Quite a long way short as well. You can see just skimming, just dragging that pole along the ground a little bit and just losing that momentum that she needed to then generate that speed to get that vertical height. So then the action just coming thick and fast. It's another clearance. How many are we going to see on this bench side? Keaton making light work. Keaton Daniel making light work of 5:35. Interesting story. Now assistant coach at the University of Kentucky. But did used to study there as well. Chris Grimes' coach. Former NCAA champion and school record holder with 580 as an NCAA star. Speak to the level there. Imogen Iris then of New Zealand. 4:28 and everyone enters the competition now. Except of course the world indoor champion. So Iris making that look very, very easy. Here we are, back and forth. You can feel the tunes in the atmosphere just wrapping up here in this arena at the moment. And Pedro Barraro, 5:82, his lifetime best. Portuguese star. He is their record holder in the Olympian, Buaro. So fast on the runway. Look at that plant. Hangs up. Oh, well, he's unlucky not to go clear on that first attempt. Frustration, perhaps, but he won't mind just taking another vault. It's a little bit more time spent on the runway. A little bit more time just to be in tune with your body. To work towards that aerial awareness. Moinirolo, the Italian Anita. She's clipping it with the shins, really. Needs to just get up there a little earlier, be at that peak height, vertical height, a little earlier on in her phase. Well, the brother of the French record holder, former world record holder, Valentine Lavillenie, training partners for so long. And I tell you what, Renaud Lavillenie, what a sort of comeback he's made in recent years, really enjoying his vaulting and actually starting to get a lot more out of his body recently. But Valentine Lavillenie will take inspiration from that. He opens his campaign here in Bordeaux. Look at that. Thank you very much. Is it his to lose today? Could he challenge? Could he challenge to the victory? So that PB just 3 years ago, 5:85. At his very best, sixth in the world in 2019. That's his best global result. Both those Lavillenie brothers being coached by Felipe Bencuse. Well, Marina Klipko, the Ukrainian, goes again. Cleared 398, cleared 413, now 428. First time clearances on both, by the way. So enjoying this run up, fast enough for her, springy enough and a good planting pod. There we go, straight down. Oh, deserved to go clear, really did deserve to go clear. Did Kalipko. As you'll cast our eyes, I think, over on the runway. Her Ukrainian teammate, FRA, will be next, well, next but one to vault. Well, she's got it. She's got it on the vertical high. Hasn't seen just a few changes. We'll see her clear of that. Well, here goes Amarati. And such an interesting story. Such an exciting prospect, wasn't he, for a long time. You think world and European junior champion in 2022 and 2021, and back then, 581, hasn't been able to quite match that. Consistently is the key mark there. You know, often in the mid fives, really, mid-5 meter vaults for him. So it's been a frustrating few years for Amarati, but that is looking much, much better. I spoke about the disappointment of him missing that Olympic final in the French capital just 2 years ago. But that trajectory is starting to show. It is always difficult to transition from the junior to a senior. Time to hear from Chivret.
Qui vient de terminer son concours avec 3,98 m, je crois. Comment s'est passé ce concours? Qu'est-ce que tu peux nous dire? Comment tu t'es senti? Tu me disais que là, pour l'instant, tu pouvais faire que de l'élan réduit à cause de ton pied, etc. Dis-nous en un peu plus.
Je me suis sentie, alors pour le coup, très bien sur le concours. Mais malheureusement, ça fait quelques semaines que c'était plus compliqué à l'entraînement. Donc du coup, forcément, moins de saut à l'entraînement, c'est moins de, on va dire, de régularité. Et du coup, les réglages, on les a fait pendant le concours. Donc 3 sauts, c'est un peu short. Donc voilà, j'avais des perches un peu souples pour faire la barre d'après. C'est des petits réglages, c'est de l'élan réduit et il faut un point de départ à la saison. Donc voilà, c'est le point de départ et c'était la première à domicile. En étant vraiment à domicile. Et voilà, c'est toujours chouette d'avoir son public, son ambiance. Et puis c'est un outil qu'on organise, donc forcément ça a une saveur particulière.
C'est quoi la particularité quand tu organises ce type de compétition? Parce que je crois que vous installez depuis quelques jours, il y a toute la préparation en amont. C'est quelque chose de différent d'un perchili tour classique où finalement tu viens pour concourir et seulement ça.
C'est exactement ça. D'habitude, une compétition en perchili tour classique, on arrive la veille, on mange, on dort et le lendemain on a la journée tranquille pour sauter. Là, ça fait quelques bonnes semaines qu'on est à fond dans l'organisation, qu'on gère un peu toutes les bêtises de dernière minute, tous les manqués, tous les trucs qu'il faut régler pour que ça se voit pas. Et donc on a tous la main à la pâte. Le jeudi, on passe 48 heures avant le concours, on passe notre journée à faire de la manutention et à monter toutes les pistes, tous les tapis, tout le gymnase pour que ce soit comme ça. Et du coup, forcément, c'est de la fatigue un petit peu mentale, mais surtout physique. Et donc finalement, c'est un meeting qu'on organise surtout pour les autres.
Bon, je vois qu'on me fait signe pour arrêter l'interview, mais merci beaucoup Margot, félicitations et on te souhaite un bon rétablissement et des très grosses performances.
Well, from one French woman to another. Now, step in, enter the arena. Marie-Julie Bonny, the world indoor champion from last year in Nanjing, China. What a way to make a name for herself. What a year she had. Now her 2026 campaign gets underway, making it look easy. Look at the distance she can get on the bar. Not just vertically, but also the depth she gets, the power she's putting through it. You'd expect that. 428, first time clearance for her. And also, by the way, the Brazilian Campos went clear at 428. We saw Biaro, whilst we were listening to that interview with Chivret, also go clear. The Portuguese athlete in the men's lineup. He made light work of that 535 height. The men's competition currently sits at, well, here's the prey. Two clearances so far, 5 meters 20, 5 meters 35. Starting to edge closer to his lifetime best is Tristan Dupre. 550. That bar now sits at. Well, he knows things are going to start to get difficult. If he can clear this on a first attempts, he'll be very, very excited at attacking what will be a lifetime best for him at 565, presuming the bar steps up to that after this. Once we go beyond 565, the field will start to whittle down a little bit. Surprised if we still have 5 or 6 in contention in a couple heights time. So Justin Dupre, he's looked very good. Technically, he's been so sound all evening long, and he was good again, but just perhaps lost a little bit of speed in those final few yards. You could just tell the plant didn't quite have that same aggression through that plant phase, but technically so sound. And he'll know he's got 550 in him, no problem. And what a way to start his campaign this year, clearing a 550, which he is consistent in and around that. These are super images, aren't they? Just clipping it with his shins on the way over as he comes down on that bar. Emma Brentel. Failure of 28. What can she do? Second attempt, great speed, good plant, just gets over there. It's a little messy, isn't it? It's a little messy, but it's enough. And that's all that matters. Sort of struggles just to really sort of align her legs together when she is at full height, which then means just sort of flings herself over the bar when she's on top there. But at this stage for her, it doesn't matter how she gets over that bar. Over to the Hungarian. Marta Obunder. The Hungarian national record holder. Very, very good speed. Watch this thing. Look at the depth he gets on it. And again, oh, he's unfortunate not to go clear on a first time at 550. And it's interesting, isn't it? Some of the circumstances different athletes find themselves in, the quality of Under, for me, would warrant a professional contract. Doesn't have one currently, but certainly looking and will be getting assistance off his governing body, the level he operates at. But it's sort of two streams of incomes athletes will get. Some stipends, perhaps from their club. Huge club like Bordeaux will be able to offer some sort of financial support to athletes, but largely they will be reliant on sponsorship from brands and local businesses, perhaps. Arbein de Dane then. Oh, okay, coming down on it, almost in slow motion. Again, a little bit like Brentel, who actually went clear, just struggling to keep those legs aligned, legs together, and stay neat and tidy when she is at the highest point of her vault. Well, Alejandro Nafreu will be next on the men's runway, and you bet he's going to be ready to go. We're just back and forth, bit of a game of tennis out there at the moment. Well, here goes the Ukrainian. Nafreu vaulting to his song of choice. It's a good plant, certainly capable of going clear, and that's one of the best attempts we've seen in this men's competition at 550. First time clearance, and he's got a perfect scorecard so far. 3 O's for the Ukrainian. That is starting to indicate towards his lifetime best at 570, isn't it? You look at those images. Berenice Petit in, up and over. Yes, it is. Took a couple of attempts to go clear, but on the second attempt, she puts the perfect vault together. Well, interesting to see where some coaches choose to watch and analyze from. Petit's coach preferring just to be in the stands there, perhaps gets a little bit of an aerial observation to look at things a little bit further afar. Whereas some of those coaches really are trackside, aren't they? Right on the runway. Simone Batelli, the Italian, current European under-23 and under-20 champion. Just dropping the arms there into that great plant. Oh, and he's done it. He looks up. Relieved. Puff of the cheeks. 550. First attempt, and look, 2 vaults in, he sits himself in a very, very good place. Another man with a lifetime best of 570. Wow, has the height, needs a little bit more depth, but that'll come, that'll come. Wow, look at the Italian, she's delighted with that. Molina Rolo. Bit of a veteran in the Italian vaulting sphere, if you like, but always there at the European level, especially at these sort of all-star competitions. Well, here we go, Nancy Amorati, one of the most well-known figures in French pole vaulting. 550 for him. You saw him fail on that first attempt. That is enough. No, it's not. No, it's not. Curse to the commentator. It looked like it was going to stay up there. But he'll take confidence from the fact it took him a couple of attempts to go clear. 535, Amorati. Oh, look at that. You can see it just bounced itself up to another little ledge there. They almost stayed up. Doesn't matter how they stay up. Well, there's Keaton Daniel warming up in the background. Meanwhile, Marina Kalipko is setting herself up to try and attack that 428. You can see. It was a close failure. Attacks up. You have to ensure you've got very, very good grip on that pole, especially through that transition from the plant to when you let go to your highest point near enough. So Kalipko, it's a good plant, and it just again looked like she had it on the vault, on the height there, but just not quite on the depth. So we'll go into a third and final attempt. Pressure starting to build for the Ukrainian. The athlete who was 5th 10 years ago at the Rio Olympic Games, but just continuing to compete well into 2026. Decade at the highest level. 465, a lifetime best. Keaton Daniel, the American. Only American in the field on both the men's and the women's side, goes clear. Light work for him. And this is a man who was gutted at those US trials in 2025. You know, heighted, didn't he? No one minds getting beat, but when you don't even get a height on the board, it is just gut-wrenching. For vaulters and jumpers really alike. Well, Albain, Bourdain then. Third and final attempt for the Bordeaux athlete. We've seen one go out. Will we see another? We will on this occasion. Unfortunately, Bourdain is gone. However, thanks to the crowd who have been behind her every step of the way. Well, it's unfortunate, isn't it? She's better than that. You'll know that. Lifetime best of 446. But just technically, didn't quite have her in there. When she was at her highest, this wasn't tidy enough for me. I am comparing her to some of the world's best, including that. So 428 proving difficult. On the women's side of the draw. The men's side, 550. Offering similar challenges for a few. However, not for this man. Uara went clear. Now we'll attack 560. He's up and over. Buaro is having a day. And do you know what? He's perhaps one of the stronger candidates for me just the way he's entered this competition. See the confidence he had just to pass at 35 after that failure. I think he's now onto the bigger poles and he's enjoying himself more on these poles. He probably works and trains with them a lot more. This is a crucial height that these elite men have to clear. It's kind of the height, you know, at the European Championships that he'll be looking for this summer, potentially even the World Championships that, you know, he's often not far off an entry point, but it's a bit of a bogey height if you can't clear 560. You're definitely not going to be anywhere near a final, a global final or a regional final. Add that. So Kalipko setting herself. She's had 2 failures at 4:28. Talk of bogey heights, proving difficult for a lot of these women at the moment. 470 when she is at her very best, but I did say, been around for a decade or so now. Here goes the Ukrainian. Yes, that's better. That'll do it. That'll do it. Look what it means. And sometimes, what I always find fascinating about pole vault, sometimes lower heights can just be a bigger challenge, a greater challenge than those PB heights that athletes train at, push themselves to vault all the time. And I think we saw that from Biaro, who just decided to pass at that low height, and Kalipko showing the same here. Valentine Levillenie, a French star with a very, very famous name globally, not just in France. So here he goes, fantastic speed, the experience in him. He's going to make sure of that. He's keeping it even at the age of 34, and he goes clear. Valentine Levillenie is shaping up very, very nicely, and you can see the smile on his face. $5.50 for him. Which now you begin to just question. Biaro went clear at 560. Bar's gone back down to 550 there for Levillenie. That doesn't make huge amounts of sense. I'll try and bring you that unless I simply just misread by myself. Biaro going clear at 550. I believe Biaro's graphic, actually, I must correct myself. I was just a little wrong. 2 attempts at 535 instead of 1 at 535, 1 at 50, and 1 at 60. So Bar still at 550 for these men. And it's Robin Amit. Perhaps this is the hot favorite for this competition. 592, his lifetime best. He is ranked among not only the top French vaulters, but the top European vaulters as well. Certainly between him and Keaton Daniel, I think, for the title on this occasion. Look at that, look at the height from him. Who cares of the failure? You know, he nods because he knows that was good. He's in very good form as Amit. And we expect him to clear on that second attempt. Often in pole vault, athletes need a jump, need a vault, just to sort of understand where they're at, gain a little bit of aerial awareness, technical awareness out there, understand how much speed they need to carry into the plant, the depth, and you can, those bars either side that are holding up the bar, those supporting bars, you can move them forwards and backwards as well. So athletes will often gather a little bit of information. It looks like Amit just needs to move his just a little further back, give himself a little bit more room to get up there and over that pole. Well, Emma Bretto next to go, went clear at 428. Oh my goodness, and does it again. Does it again, and with a slightly unorthodox approach to the pole vault. Will be stunned that she's gone clear. 438, first attempt. Took her a couple on multiple heights throughout this competition to start with, but Brentil just enjoying that, and almost just those legs just stretching to get her over it. See the way she was moving them to carry that momentum in the upper body as well. Almost swimming mid-air, wasn't she? Kristen Dupre. His time has come to have another attempt at 550. He was extremely close on his first attempt. A little bit like Robin Ami down there, who will be warming up and preparing himself for his second attempt at this height. I think Dupre knows it's well within him to go over this. So, good plant, very tidy. Oh, and actually, a little bit of fatigue. Just losing that speed there. Might just be a little bit disappointed with that one. You can just see much, much slower through the vertical element of the vault. And almost just looked like he was going to go. Berenice Petit, 438, yes! First time clearance as well. Wow. So that's two French women who go clear at 438. In the All-Star competition here in Bordeaux. It's one of a kind, it's pole vaulting like you haven't seen it before. They are the stars under the bright lights here in this fantastic arena. Just look at the crowd that they've got in here. It is filling up. Seems another couple hundred people have entered since the very, very start of this. And they've had pole vaulting on through the last 24 hours here in Bordeaux. We had competitions last night, some junior competitions. Then throughout the day, we've had several hundred vaulters embark into this arena. They really do give them time and exposure they need. Wow, look at that from the Hungarian. Bonder goes clear, 550, and I just love the speed and the energy this guy's bring to the event. He's one of the quickest on the runway, and just the way he propels himself up, so snappy, that transfer of energy. He's not hanging about. See the care he takes with his pole? Interesting, a few articles last year coming out on the engineers, if you like, to create Mondo Duplantis' poles. And this eye-watering sums of money that go into the creation of these poles. Imogen Iris, the Kiwi, easy. Very, very easy for the Commonwealth Games medalist. She'll be looking to get back onto that podium in 2026 in Birmingham. Glasgow, apologies. Birmingham was where she was awarded that bronze medal. Commonwealth Games, staying in the UK. After, of course, the Australians couldn't surmount the funds to host such an event. So Anthony Amarati, second attempt for him. Needs this really, I think, just for a little bit of confidence. Oh, and that's a shame. Just in himself. So shake of the head, and this is a difficult time for Amarati. He'll get the advice off his coach there and support team. You can see some of the mascots and those young junior athletes. Elisa Molinarolo, the Italian, what a competition she's having as well. More than capable of going clear at 438. Not on this occasion, though. So back to the drawing board a little bit for her. And if she can get over 38 without too many problems, conserve a little bit of energy, she's going to have a crack at her lifetime best. You would think that sits at 446. Well then, Robin Ami, huge figure in French vaulting, and he has a huge lifetime best to go with it. Now, his first attempt at 550 was, well, extremely impressive. The fact he failed was a shock to many, really, but the vertical height he had on that bar was just eye-watering, but just coming down there, it didn't quite have the depth on the vault. But those corrections for a professional like him will be relatively minor, and we expect him to go clear on attempt number 2. Otherwise, that really would put the pressure on him. And it would be a storyline and a half, wouldn't it? So, Robin Amit of France here in Bordeaux. Second attempt, this is his opening height. No, not to be. But perhaps I'm putting too much pressure on him. For whatever reason, just was not confident on attacking that one. And I presume only he will know, but heavy favourite to try and win this. Marina Kilipko. Ukrainian to go again. When everything comes together for Kilipko, she has produced some incredible heights. 465, like in just so many events, is about getting it right at the right time, peaking at the right time. That is a skill in itself and being able to rise to the occasion. So here goes Kilipko. To go for 438, not to beat. Not to be, and will this be the height? I mean, that was a pretty, if you won't mind me saying, not a very convincing first attempt, was it? Which begs the question, will she have enough to go clear on a slightly bigger pole to go clear at 438, struggling to get the speed to put through it there. So is that Tristan Dupre at the far end? Yes, it is. And you can see this is where the athletes were introduced early on. If you missed it, it was a fantastic introduction to these stars. The way we kick-started this meet was box office, really. Broadway, yes. So to stay in the competition, Tristan Dupre needs this. We've seen one man get knocked out in Palace. The Bordeaux athlete, surely we're not going to see Dupre. Medalist at under 23, European level, no! Not to be. And he'll be so frustrated because he knows the opportunity here tonight. With this crowd, it's rare that you're going to compete in an arena like this on the circuit, pretty much anywhere. With a crowd that are purely here to watch on and celebrate these men and women in front of them down below. And when you're up there, and I think one of the reasons this arena is so special is obviously the vaulters are at ground level and the crowd are up and their eyesight is level with that bar. You see the athlete right when they're at their highest point. Juliana Campos of Brazil. Talk about Kilipko having probably the performance of her career in 2016. Campos was inspired and now goes from strength to strength in her career as well. She is a current star down there in South America, and look at that scorecard. 3 perfect clearances. Things going very, very well for Campos. Perhaps, could she thread the likes of Marie-Julie Bonny? It's looking like it. There might not be too many women who do battle around that 450 mark. Starting to edge towards her lifetime best. Final attempt in for Amarati. We saw Dupre go out. Surely we're not going to see another Frenchman go out. Oh no, that was his best vault of the competition. He'll be so frustrated. He had it, he had the speed, he had the height. Well, it's tough to see where he went wrong there. I'm sure pole vault experts will be able to break this down and completely identify where it was. He was at fault, but him and his coach will just bump their heads together. Well, from one French star to another. Oh, that breakout victory last year at the World Championships was a story like no other, wasn't it? Carried that form on into the summer. The Americans getting 1-2 in Tokyo. Peyton Moon continues to dominate 3 back-to-back world titles, one of the biggest storylines. Sometimes overshadowed, by the way, Mondo, the results he's producing on the men's side at the moment. There is the French star, little messy, and perhaps didn't deserve to go clear on that attempt. So, 4:38. Causing some minor problems for a legend. I mean, look at the heights he had there just yet. Not quite enough depth. Perhaps he'll just pull the bars forward a little bit. The coach standing out receiving. Of course, has been communicating with a lot of the athletes from Bordeaux. That is where Bonin is from. So Robin and me, surely he has to go clear. I mean, it was a bit of a shock to see Amarati go out at this height. 5:50 then for Robin and me. Povodin, like all, I guess, track and field discs, is so much about consistency. Just produce your best. Look at that long, loping, powerful stride he has in the runway. No, you cannot believe it. You can't write this. He no heights. The French star. And just the way he planted, you would have bet serious money on him going clear here. Look at the height he had, the vertical height, just not enough depth to get over it. Well, it's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for this home crowd as well. So some of the stars struggling here in Bordeaux. We're going to see a few upsets. Molina Rolo. Second attempt, 38. This is causing a lot of problems. Strangely, it is early on in 2026. We won't be too critical. Not to be for her. Just veering off to the right-hand side. And sometimes you get this after what has been, you've got to say, a very challenging time for a lot of athletes. In a sense, they've had, what, 5 global championships back-to-back. You think from Tokyo to Eugene to Budapest to Paris, back to Tokyo in 2025. It's been very busy. And a lot of these athletes wouldn't have been to all of those championships. But as a junior, you look at someone like Amarati was a junior through those periods. He was making championships, competing at a junior level at the global stage and European stage. And year on year, it can start to take it out of you. And you have almost, I think this year athletes are having a little bit more of a hard reset, weren't they? At the back end of 2025, it was like, right, we've got another Olympic cycle on the horizon. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we need in order to go to that next level. So often you'll find athletes will take a few more risks, perhaps even change coaching setups during this period, because that run in to LA will come around very, very quickly, and it's a free hit. Of course, these Europeans, they will focus on the European Championships, and I think it's only Imogen Iris who will have the Commonwealth Games to look forward to. But other than that, it is a chance to just experiment and really push the boundaries, figure out what works and what doesn't, going into that 2-year countdown to LA. I can't believe I'm already talking about it. Feels like yesterday we waved goodbye to the Paris Olympics. So it is second attempt for the Ukrainian. Kalipko on the runway, biding her time. Pressure will be on if she doesn't go clear. And I mentioned from her first attempt, didn't I? It wasn't very convincing. And I backed that statement up. Although it did take her 3 to go clear at 28. Kalipko knows if she can get over this, she might be able to feature in the top 3 of this competition tonight. Few of them struggling. Campos and Iris, by the way, they both lead. Imogen Iris and Campos, they're clear, sitting in top spot at the moment. And sitting in second with that first time failure of 38. So here goes the Hungarian Bonder to attack this next height. Will it be a first time clearance? Oh, ever so close. Ever so close. Not far away. So just going up 10 centimeters there. Bar now at 560. And with Emi out, I wonder if he had something to do with that. Or the other athletes, I say, would have controlled that. Biaro, the Portuguese athlete, looking very, very strong. He's had a pretty easy ride so far. Alexander Unafreo is another man. You can see him, he's just in the distance, just behind the world indoor champion of Benin. So he sets himself to attack 560, apologies. Whereas Benin sets herself for another attempt at 438. What a height which is fairly routine for her. One of the unique things of this meeting, athletes have a different song on their runway for them. Oh, and that's it. That's more like it from the world champion. That's what we came for. To witness her make light work of such heights. Just look at that upper body strength they need to grab a hold of that pole. Core strength. Various disciplines you have to train. The acrobatics is the interesting, exciting part for me. So, Alexander Onofreo, the Ukrainian. Oh, okay, so no one clear of 560 yet. Let's hear from Ami.
Est-ce que tu peux nous raconter un petit peu comment ça s'est passé et puis les perspectives pour la suite?
Alors, comme vous avez pu voir, ça s'est pas passé comme j'aurais pu l'espérer. Après, c'est la compétition et bon, c'est la première. Ça manque un peu de réglage et ça manque de saut, on va dire, pour le moment. Donc, rien de grave. Tout va bien, ou en tout cas, tout va presque bien. Donc, il n'y a plus qu'à passer à la suite. Et bon, les grosses perfs ne devraient pas tarder à arriver.
On n'a pas de doute là-dessus. Prochaine compétition, ce sera quand pour toi?
Du coup, c'est rendez-vous vendredi prochain, le 30 janvier à Miramas. Donc c'est assez proche, de quoi corriger 2-3 trucs et retourner en compétition sereinement.
Ok, bah, très bonne saison, merci beaucoup et puis à très vite.
So no doubt a disappointed Robin Ami there, trackside. With the team here at the All-Star Pole Vault meeting in Bordeaux. One of a kind, pole vaulting really like you haven't witnessed before. And just while we were listening to we got to witness Marina Rolo of Italy go clear at 438 on her third attempt. She was delighted. So, over to this lady, Marina Kalipko of Ukraine. Been at the highest level for a decade now, enjoys her time on the circuit, especially touring around Europe. Does a fine job in competing at these sorts of events. Will it be enough? No. Another one goes, another one bows out. And now I'm sure she will enjoy and watch her Ukrainian teammate on the other side, on the other runway. Unafreo. Oh, so close. Just veering off to the right. Very, very similar technique to that of Marina Rolo. of Italy, and it worked for her just, shall I say. Well, another Italian. Best in Europe for his age, at that under 23 level and junior level once upon a time. Simone Batelli beat the prey, by the way, to that title, who's already out the competition, 560. It's a perfect scorecard for the Italians so far. One would think you'd need it to contest for the victory here. Oh, first time failure. At 560, and it's interesting, you look at the ease in which he got over 550, just 10 centimeters higher. Flying margins seem to just struggle a lot more at this height. Different pole, much messier with the legs on the way up. Just never quite had control of it, did he? Batelli just discussing how that one played out with the coaching staff. Did go to the World Championships in Tokyo last year, gained a lot of experience at the highest level. And his coach there, Riccardo Fatti, well-regarded coach in Italy for Bordeaux. Bases and trains himself in Turin. Well, if you said to Emma Brento at the start of the competition, you're going to go clear on the first attempt of 4 meters in 38 centimeters, and I tell you what, the world indoor champion, the lady you perhaps idolize and look up to, will fail on that height before going clear on a second attempt. She would not have believed you. So 448, what can she do? Can she keep that form going? No. Looking a little too much. Nice acrobatics, nice save from her. On the way down. For me, just not quite carrying that same power and speed through the bar once you planted it. Keaton Daniel, the American, studied out of Kentucky, the NCAA star, goes clear. And he is the one who is coasting right now through this competition. 560. He would have heard stories of Bordeaux, I'm sure. And the American would have been eager to get himself to Europe and get himself in this field. And they welcome him for the first time to Bordeaux. Sails over 560. Competition in the palm of his hands at the moment. Berenice Petit. 448. No. Well, very similar to the attempts of Brento, wasn't it? Just in the way that couldn't quite control the upper body on the way up. And didn't want to risk really attacking the full arch motion required to go clear. Interested to see where Marie-Julie Bonny decides to go as we just take another look at Petit's attempts. Just didn't quite line up. Pedro Buaro in the red, the Portuguese star, if you like, their national record holder. Imogen Iris also in the red colours wearing that Adidas strip. A truly international. Just asking the question, who's going? Is it me or is it Buaro? Not sure Buaro was ready to go. So we will see two women vault, one after another. We have been going back and forth all evening up until this point. So Iris, perfect scorecard, could put the pressure on the world indoor champion. Wouldn't that be something? There she goes, yes, up and over, looking very, very good. Iris has come here in shape and means business this year on the circuit. Finalist at the World Championships last year. 9th at the World Indoors, 10th at the World Outdoors, just a couple spots behind Marie-Julie Bonny. Of course, Bonny has hit the heights of being on top of the world. Iris will be chipping away, working towards that feat. Well, here goes Buaro. Wow. Wow, it might have been a failure, but the height was there, wasn't it? We'll have a look at the replay shortly. He's looked impressive. All right. He's one of the few athletes who's actually opened up his season as well. Just getting it from the same camera angle we saw that first stint. You can see where the hips were at their highest point. They're way, way above the bar. Molina Rolo. Veteran Italian vaulter. Accustomed to these meetings in, yep. Disappointing, that's a second attempt. Or 3 attempts, shall I say, to go clear at 38. And another failure at 48. So things not going very smoothly for Mularolo, but she's figuring it out as she goes, and she is able to correct her mistakes and get it right. And she needs it most. Valentine Levillini. Well, he'll want to be the leading Frenchman. And things are starting to go in his favor with Ami out, with Amarati out, and with Dupre out. This man holds the French flag at the moment. You've got a Ukrainian, Italian, Hungarian, and a Portuguese, and an American left in this men's competition. Oh, well, one of the closest we've seen at 560 from Levillini. Have another look at this. Good speed on the way up, just clipping it with his shins, but have slightly more speed in the runway, better energy transfer, and he's up and over that, isn't he? He really is. Well, here's Campos. Oh, she's over. Look at this scorecard. Leads. Campos leading this women's competition. 4 first-time clearances. It's a perfect scorecard. And her and Iris find themselves in the same situation, back and forth. Enjoying herself out there. Well, in the way she's vaulting, she'll be well aware of that 476 lifetime best, and perhaps even starts to believe it could be possible here today. I was surprised to see her at 413, Campos. But early season, I mentioned athletes just training their endurance as well, their ability to jump consistently. Bondo on the runway. Looking on the way up. So much speed, this guy. He's compact, he's powerful. Certainly his skill set, what he can do over 40 meters would be fascinating. And that speed required to do the pole vault, I think for years watching on, you know, you understand the concept, you understand you need to be powerful and fast. But it wasn't until Mondo took on Warholm, was it, in that 100-meter battle, that you really understood the levels of speed that these athletes possess, and they'll work on it, especially through the winter months. That's an opportunity for them to work on it without fatiguing the body. They're not inundated with competitions like they are in the summer. They can spend time working on the fundamentals, the basics of this event before honing in on all the technicalities and the mechanical components required to succeed. This lady will know about that all too well. Look at that. Well, that's a world champion if ever you've seen one. Comfortably over. 4 meters and 48. So the little blip we saw from her on the previous height of 438. Iron that out. Coach, trackside, this is their local, I won't say local facility. This facility has very much been made for the purpose of this competition tonight, but her local area, where she belongs, where she's comfortable at home. Alexander Unifrea. Could he be the first man clear at 560? Nope. As everyone now has Another attempt at 560. No one has gone clear yet. Biaro still in the competition. This man obviously still in the competition. You've got the likes of Lavillenie, Batelli, Wonder. But all of them struggling at 560, and with a knee out. And Amarati, the next favorite, you would go. Keaton Daniel, the American, who I believe will be next to vault. Emma Brettol, same club as Marie-Julie Bonin, shares the same coach. What a role model to have, hey? A world champion, and sometimes you don't quite realize the impact that an athlete like Marie-Julie Bonin can have. But I tell you what, on the club of Bordeaux, she would have made a huge difference. And to be training in that facility regularly, to base yourself there as well. And for these athletes, they would have witnessed Bonin go on to accomplish what she did last year, and that would have fired them up and installed a lot of belief in their career and what they're capable of as well. But Brentel not capable of that. Not capable of 4:48 on this occasion. One more attempt for her then. That's 2 done so far. Checking in with her coach. The famed Danielle Basevi. Was a world finalist in the pole vault himself, actually. I believe back in 09, his highest position. 6th place in Berlin at those World Championships. Well, there's Berenice Petit to the left. Simone Batelli is in fact the next man to vault. Oh, it's brilliant from Batelli. And now he leads, puts himself in a commanding position. First clear at 560. And he looks very, very fired up for this one. He knows, you know, a historic, meaningful meeting like this one in Bordeaux. It is an unofficial title almost, a little bit like winning at a Diamond League or on the circuit. You know that if you come here and you win, you've had to put away some serious opposition. Berenice Petit. Second attempt, 4:48. It's where the bar sits, just dragged. You could just see going in to the planting pit, just dragged the pole along the bottom there, skimmed it, which means she was never going to get the speed through the transition that she was required to go clear of 4:48. So frustrating for her. Pressure on, we could witness a couple bow out of the competition at this height. So there's a quick update for you. Who's gone clear at 560? Keaton Daniel, Simone Batelli. Valentine Lavillenie still awaits, and Amarati Palacinami out. You would not have called that prior to this one getting underway. So it's been relatively disappointing as far as French vaulters have been concerned. Over on the male side of this competition, the women still producing their very best. Well, Pedro Buaro. This man impressed last summer. Certainly 2024, one of his better seasons, still only 23 years of age. Not 24 to the summer. There you are. Edging closer to that form that we saw when he cleared 582 a few weeks back. But that's a season's best for him, and I can't say that because he has competed this season already. Some of them, or a lot of these athletes, opening up their campaign here, so it's a bit unfair to call it his season's best. But he does better the mark of 552 that he vaulted in Lisbon a couple weeks back. The Olympian. And it's one of the highest accolades that the sport's offered. Even just becoming Olympian is a statement of the doors it opens up later in life. Second attempt for the Italian Molinarolo. You could just feel the crowd sigh. Feel the energy in the room shift as she fails on that second attempt. So 4:48 is going to be the difference maker. And, you know, I fear, look at these couple of vaults, and will Molinarolo have it in her today? Just that pause. Right when the bar was just bending, that pause for her on the way up just cost her, really. Cost her that momentum to take herself to higher heights. Valentin Levellini could do with going clear at 5:60. He would have just seen Bertelli do it. Sole Frenchman left in the competition. A lot rests on his shoulders now. Levellini, with one of the most famous surnames in the sport of track and field, is over at 5:60. And he's still in it. He's still in the fight. Look at the energy that he brings. And he knows that this crowd have come to see a French winner. And that's why it is so important he remains in this competition. Look how close that was. Pressure really would have been on him. Well, and it was this time last year, we saw Thibaut Delay compete. Lucky enough to commentate on that one. What a competition it was. Up over 590s. I mean, Corrales as well. Sort of breakthroughs that he had here in Bordeaux at this competition. And the season he had last year. Well, here we go then. Brentel to go clear, the athlete from Bordeaux, the local. And that fairy tale ends here. 3 failures here, 4:48. With some effort for her and some performance. The way she sailed over 4:38 on that first attempt, we thought something special might be happening. Close enough to her lifetime best of 4:43, which she set, funny enough, a couple years ago in Bordeaux. Outdoors, as she continues to progress up the French ranks, and this is one of her rivals. Both of them at a similar level, per se, but here goes the Hungarian on the far side. Bondeur, super speed. Too much, you might argue, just too much speed he's looking to generate. And unfortunately, that's his night over. True professional, though, acknowledging the crowd, and I think all of these athletes will. They really do play their part in Bordeaux. I haven't seen many competitions that bring this much atmosphere. You've got to credit the organisers, haven't you? So, Pate to stay in the competition, quick on the run-up, good plant, but skimmed it before she was able to get that plant. And so in the last 3 vaults, we've seen 3 athletes bow out of this all-star meeting in Bordeaux. So we hope we don't see another. We've got, on the women's side, you can see Molinarolo just preparing for her 3rd and final attempt. Alexander Unafreo, the Ukrainian, awaiting his as well. Now, there is the scorecard of this women's final. Iris Campos and Bonnie still in. So I believe Unafreo is going to let Molinarolo go next. So we'll see 2 women vault back to back. We've had that a couple times throughout the competition already, but there has been a lot of back and forth, Or is Unafreo going to go? Just the way he walked off the runway there made me think he was going to pause, but just getting perhaps a little bit more talc in the palm of his hands just to ensure that grip. He knows what's going to be required of him in order to go clear. It is a height that he's more than capable of. 570 at his best. Set that at European Team Championships last year, actually, out in Madrid.
On retrouve Emma qui bien terminé son concours, des belles tentatives à 4,48 m. Ton record, c'est 4,43 m. Comment tu t'es sentie?
Je me suis très bien sentie. Franchement, ça me met en confiance au début de saison. J'ai jamais fait une rentrée aussi haute. On a un peu de fatigue de la compétition, de l'installation de la compétition avec la manutention. Ça fait 3 jours qu'on essaye que tout se passe bien. Donc je suis super contente et ça me rassure pour le reste de la saison.
Oui, merci beaucoup. C'était un très beau concours. Merci pour le spectacle et à très vite. Bon courage pour la suite de la saison.
Et à très vite.
Et on va donc pouvoir donner le départ de l'autre côté à Alexandre Freyer pour son 3e essai à 5,60 m. Allez, mesdames et messieurs,
Unifredo then on the runway. He's waited patiently for that interview just to conclude. What's he got? Can he clear 560? He can! The Ukrainian stays in the fight. Third and final attempt. Well, don't we have a competition just boiling away on this men's side, and more going clear at 560. Wow, just clipping it. Just a touch. We saw that from Le Villani, but it doesn't matter how they get over. You can see the excitement. Is that Filipko there as well? Just offering a little bit of advice. They often travel together, don't they? Especially vaulters. We would have had access to this facility just to train, just to do what is a little bit of a pre-meet. A lot of athletes will do the day before the competition. Imogen Iris, the Kiwi then, another athlete with a perfect scorecard. Campos have not had one failure to date here in Bordeaux. Iris just prepares. As the competition nears the end, as less and less athletes remain, the time in between vaults will increase just purely because it will match that of the wait time that they would have had with 8 people in. If there's now only 4 or 3 like there is in this women's competition, they'll have 2 or 3 minutes in between vaults in every height. You tend to get an extra minute until you get up to about 5 minutes, and then you have a bonus minute sometimes if you are going for a national record, world record even. And you are the final person left. So, Imogen Iris, the Kiwi, bronze medalist at the Commonwealth Games back in 2022 in Birmingham. She'll be very excited when she finishes on top. She'll have a battle. Molly Caudry will be hometown favourite for that one. Iris, way off it. Way off it on that first jump. So that perfect scorecard, unfortunately, is perfect no more, but she would have learned something from that vault. Checks in with coach. Bar at 4:58, by the way, just confirmation for you on the graphic there. Well, and I'm interested to see where the bar goes in that men's competition. Will it be 465 or 470? 470 will be interesting. And this is where the scorecard really counts. You know, those who have cleared those lower heights on the first attempt, because you could have a scenario where 3 or 4 men go out at 470, and you could end up, if you haven't got that perfect scorecard, you could end up finishing 5th or 6th. There's just as many men still in the competition on the far side. So Alexandre Unifredo will actually be first to vault at the new height of 5.70 meters. So what can he do? He only just cleared 560, but new poles, a little bit of work to do, but he'll take that away. And with 2 more attempts, he's got to believe. Talking of perfect scorecards, Campos on the women's runway has one. She's about to start at 4:58, so 5:70, little much for Unifredo on that occasion. And eyes will be on Keaton Daniel for me of the US. Botelli, potentially, will take something this time in the season. Just to come out right around your PB would be huge for Botelli. And just from what we've seen so far. Okay, then here is the Brazilian Campos. Her lifetime best of 476. Nowhere near under threat. And she looks to clear 458. Good plant. Oh, I wanted to say she was over. Looked like she was almost there. It's a very, very strong first attempt. It really is. See, just veering off to the right there to give her a little bit more room to get up. To reach that maximum vertical height. Well, here goes the French start. 8th at those World Championships. I mentioned, of course, World Indoor Champion. And the reason why that title was so special for an athlete like Maria-Julie Bonini, I mean, 3rd at the European Indoors, it came as a bit of a shock to win that world title. But once you get one, you then believe you can go and get another and another and another. You believe you belong. And that is often the biggest hurdle that coaches have to unlock to their athletes. And Simone Bertelli on the men's runway will know a lot about that. European under-23 and European junior champion. He's done it all at junior level. Now he bids to make that transition to the senior ranks and deliver in the same fashion. A little frustrated with that attempt. Didn't even get the plant off. But his coach, Riccardo Flatti, is right there trackside, analyzing his every move. Well, 2 stars, you can see. Keaton Daniel on the far side, right behind Bonine here, but eyes on this woman. Now, could this be the height that wins it? She would love to go clear. She would love to get the competition wrapped up at 458. It would then be on her to choose where the bar goes next. A lifetime best of 475. Pulled out all the stops to win that world title. Life-changing for her coach, for her club, for everyone in her support team. So the current world champion indoors. Disappointing on attempt 1, however. Just wasn't to be, wasn't confident in the plant for one reason or another. And we see a mirror image really of what we witnessed from the Italian Bertelli. Now then, the interesting American, Keaton Daniel. Over here, good speed. Are we going to witness it jump just about? Cameraman gets on it. Oh, so just about hooked his feet up. Couldn't quite hook the rest of his body up onto that height. Adjustments to be made. Imogen Iris knows the importance of this. I think every athlete does. When you get to this stage in the competition, these jumps can make the difference, especially with everyone failing on their first attempt. Iris to go clear, no, not to be. But looking in good form, and that's promising, not just for now, not just for tonight, but for the season that lies ahead. You want to be able to sort of comfortably attack that 460. And you know, when you look on the global tour, if you can routinely clear 460, you are going to be there or thereabouts in a lot of competitions, picking up those minor places, picking up, you know, on the periphery of the podium. Iris. So what's Campos got that is not the French woman Bonine? This is Juliana Campos, the Brazilian. You can see her scorecard matches that of Iris. Will she be able to change that on this jump? It would put her in the driving seat. You can see the athletes struggling at this height. The bar potentially to go to 465 next. Get right around some of the best vaults that she's produced in the last couple of years. Campos has got that lifetime best of 476, but I would say averages around that 455, 460 mark. So 458. Campos' second attempt to put the pressure on the world indoor champion, who watches on, pole in hand. It's the Brazilian's turn. For South America tonight, the only one, Campos, good plant, and so close. So close, you can see the pillars either side just rattling there. Such is the power that she hit that bar with. The main part of our center of gravity just coming down on it. So Pedro Biaro, Portuguese star, their national record holder. All right, 570 as we edge closer and closer to his very best. Could have he been on the cards for him today? 582 indoors last year. Biaro. Well, I tell you what, when someone goes clear at 570, this place will erupt. Not only that, you could say down on the women's side as well. So we've seen, what's that, 8 failures back to back? So yet to see a clearance in 8 vaults. Could this be? Could it take the world indoor champion to break the mold here, break the pattern, lift this arena back on its feet? Just like she did in Nanjing 11 months ago.
On laisse sauter Marie-Julie, je vous en dis un peu plus sur l'ambiance juste après.
She's all focused as you would expect at this stage. Second attempt, 458 for the world champion, and she's up and over. And I mentioned what that would mean. She breaks the mold. And what that means for the competition now. We could have just seen the winning vault. She will then dictate where the bar goes. I'm, of course, speaking in ifs and buts. A lot needs to happen before then, but, you know, you could see Iris, you could see Campos, the pressure is now on them. They will have one more attempt at this height. If they don't go clear, it's game over. And we'll hear from the local presenter down on the track.
J'ai l'impression que la salle est bien plus pleine que d'habitude. Une ambiance folle. Et puis le fait d'avoir notre championne du monde à la maison, c'est sûr que c'est un plus. On adore ce qui se passe ici et on a hâte de voir la suite.
Valentin Lavillenie, quick on the runway, no messing about. You could see, just dropped that pole too early, didn't he? Hit the track before it hit the planting box. So, back to a failure on that men's side, 570. While I speak about Tonin winning it at 458 potentially, I think on the men's side, whoever goes clear at 70 could be in the driving seat, if not win the competition at that height. We could be looking at the winning height over on the far side. It'd be a shame there's 5 men still in it. Imogen Iris has been very, very tidy up until this point. 458 proving challenging for the Commonwealth Games medalist. Third and final time, or will it be? Will we see her again? Yes, we will! She goes toe-to-toe with the world indoor champion. So, she remains in the fight. And that is exactly what she would have wanted from herself. Look at that. I mentioned she's been tidy all competition long. Really pulled everything together then. Hit it dead center. Hit it flat, hit it fast. Alexander Onofreo. His second attempt at 570, so everyone back on their second attempt. It's better though. The edge is closer. Took him 3 to go at 560. That's on him getting it next time around. It's going to be close. This is good, solid vaulting from both the men and women at this stage in the season. You know, many of them just opening their season. And like I said, would have been working on a lot of things through that winter campaign. So Juliana Campos, third and final time. Will we see 3 at the next height? No, we won't. So 3 now becomes 2. She bows out the Brazilian. .458, proving just a little too much for her on this occasion. And I think every single jump just veering off to the right there. And perhaps that's just costing her. Losing that key element of speed. Salvatelli. The man from Turin. The star, really. I think good Italian vaulting. And he has promised such success in the next few years. He'll look at those Olympics and have the dates of qualification in the final penciled into his diary. He'll want to be there, and he'll want to be at the pointy end of that competition. If he keeps trending the way he is, he's certainly going to be on course for that. But one more attempt at 570 for him. Keaton Daniel will be next to go in that men's field. Meanwhile, Imogen Iris just warming herself up. So he's a school record holder at the University of Kentucky. He's now the assistant coach after he graduated there. He still works alongside Chris Grimes, his coach, who is also one of the multis and jumps coaches at Kentucky as well. And he's done fantastic things over the years as Grimes. And the University of Kentucky, one of the biggest schools in the NCAA, really. You think about the talent that goes through there. Sydney, McLaughlin Levrone went to Kentucky, believe it or not, for a year. Dominated the NCAA for 12 months, and then her time is up. Had to transition into the pro ranks. So Keaton Daniel, the Kentucky star, here he is, 570 second attempts. He's going to need a third. And the American was really enjoying himself up to this point, sailing over those earlier heights. The vertical clearance he was getting would indicate way beyond 570 at times, but just not quite stringing it all together.
C'est un match France-Nouvelle-Zélande. Ce n'est pas du rugby, c'est du saut à la perche. Et la première banderille sera faite.
But believe it or not, still sits in pole position. Keaton Daniel. So both Iris and Marie-Julie Bonnie not quite ready yet to take on their next height. You can see the clock just counting down. They have 3 minutes, I think, in between vaults now, with just 2 of them remaining, potentially even 4. So I think it'll be a case of just go big or go home now for both Iris and Bonnie. Iris will certainly want to win here. If she can beat an athlete like him, the confidence that will give her going into a few more world tours. Expect to see these two on those gold level tours. Madrid, Levan as well. So here goes the Kiwi. First attempt in, it's a good one, but it won't count. It will be a foul. Obviously the bar comes down with her. 464. Now that's interesting why that was chosen. I was mentioning they might want to go a little higher, a little more ambitious, but I think they both realize that actually the ability to clear 464 routinely and get the opportunity to do a height like this is very important, because it's often the height. Scott Simpson actually just in the stands there. Former coach to Bradshaw. Pedro Buard. His time to shine. Will he be the first to go clear at 570? Brave move from him after that 535 failure. Oh! Is that the closest attempt we've seen today? Quite possibly. But it doesn't matter because the bar still came down with him. Surely we're not going to see all 5 men exit the competition at the same time, are we? But 570. Proving a costly measure. So here goes Marie. You can even hear the echoes, couldn't you, round the arena? And the impact she's had on this club and probably the people of Bordeaux as well. Well, this is the song she chooses to vault to here in Bordeaux. You can play whatever song you want when you're on the runway. It's your time. You're the focus. You're the star. Just how it should be. Oh, okay. Runs through. Did the same, to be fair, on the previous height, didn't she? That first go at 458 played out very similar to that. So for some reason or another, perhaps just a little bit of a mental block, not quite being able to take on the full vault early on when these heights stack up. Well, from one French star to another, Valentine Lebellini, 5 meters in 70 centimeters. This will put him well and truly in the driving seat. He'll be the man to beat if he can go clear at this height. Put a load of pressure on the rest of them as well, because many of them have already failed at 570 twice. So they'll be going into their third and final jump knowing that this man has gone clear, with a lot to lose if they don't. So Lebellini to go clear at 570, not to be, manages to just keep himself safe, basically. Often shows the dangers. Here's the dangers of this sport. You get it wrong, disaster can happen. But just look at that aerial awareness to just take himself down there, just showing that strength they have in the upper body as well. Perhaps his necklace came off in the vault itself there as well. So Imogen Iris, talk about putting the pressure on. She could reverse it onto Bonnie if she goes clear. There's Patelli. Just making sure he's ready enough. He's generating enough speed in that runway. You can see a few of the others who have gone out. Calypso, Palat. They're all talking down there. Very good friends, these pole vaulters. Huge camaraderie in the event of pole vault. Here goes Iris in. Second attempt at 64. Well, had it really, didn't she? With those legs perhaps just a little bit too far apart. Wasn't able to keep it as tidy as she would have liked. Had she had done, she's gone clear there. There's no doubt about it. You look at the vertical she has on that bar. Just was it the knee? A little more depth. You know what? That will fill her with a lot of confidence. So to stay in the competition, Nori's out. Unafreo, he's out. We wave goodbye to the Ukrainian. Unfortunately, we welcome two of them here, two Ukrainian stars. Unafreo here, and then of course Marina Kalipko in the women's event as well. She wound up in 7th. And Unafreo, depending on what plays out here, currently sits in 3rd. However, as the others bow out as well, things could change on countback for him. So they've piled in their hundreds to see the world indoor champion. Can she put on a little bit more of a show? Can she lock up that victory? Well, how many times do you reckon she's vaulted to this song in training and practice? And of course here in Bordeaux, she's been here every year for the last 3. Does have a pretty good record here as well. It is where she opens up her campaign. It is the start of her year, and what comes after. Here she goes. Well, similar attempt that, wasn't it, to Iris? So it's going to be toe to toe. Who can go clear on their 3rd and final attempts? Would you bank on both of them? I'm not so sure. I think one of them could win the competition on their 3rd jumper. Well, she's got the experience of doing that. She's got the experience of rising to the occasion, vaulting under pressure. There's no pressure like going for a world title. Well, I imagine his life changed a little bit as well once she won that world title, her coach there. Well, here goes Bertelli also to stay in the competition one last time. Oh, that's very frustrating to not even plant there. But hey, look, he's had a great time, and we've loved having him here, haven't we? The Italian, he's certainly going to be one to watch for the future. It is an experienced man's game, the pole vault. Don't let Mondo Duplantis fool you with his talents and what he's achieved at such a young age over the years. You know, when he really did rise to fame, he was still just a teen, but the experience, the strength, the speed required to really master this event. I think the aerial technicalities as well. There's just so much to work on routinely and not enough hours in the day, hence why it is an event for the experience. You look at the developments of Corrales and what he's done, the Greek star, over the last few years, but it's taken time. So then we've seen Bertelli bow out. Will we see Iris bow out as well? Is an advantage to jump before the world indoor champion, to go clear, to put the pressure, put the ball in her court. Imogen Iris of New Zealand. Oh, clipped it on the way up. Not enough depth to the vault. Waves goodbye. To the members of Bordeaux. So this women's competition reaching its absolute climax. Bonnie actually leads on countback currently. So even if she failed at 64, Keaton Daniel to go on his 3rd attempt. Oh, well, he almost had it. He almost had it, but that's it for him too. So we're not going to get potentially the marks we had 12 months ago here. We had some staggering, eye-watering numbers come out of this meeting. It's looking like a few more will bow out. So Keaton Daniel, he was, after we saw him, Robin and me bow out so early on, he was definitely one of the favorites to go on and take this title here in Bordeaux. Talk of favorites. You've got to have thick skin as a vaulter. You've got to be able to brush off your results, go to the next one. I mean, the very best will compete 20, 25 times a year, if not more. They'll compete at least five or so times, 5 to 8 times through this indoor campaign. And just think about how many vaults that actually is, or 10 or 12 per competition. That might be towards the upper end, but if you're able to go deep into the latter stages like Ronnie usually does. So, being the sole athlete left, she'll get a little more time, which means the likes of Briaro and others in the men's field will too. I think they will wait for the French star to go. Well, so good to see, isn't it? Athletes in this sort of environment. The crowd will just be hawking down on her as they just wait. When is the right time? Then often outdoors, you might wait for the weather a little bit, the wind to calm down. When is the right time for her to just take to the runway for this third and final attempt at 464? Well, it's coming. They'll have the same approach for every single time they vault. Wow, they really, really appreciate it, don't they? And rightly so as well. I should remind you, not just a world champion, but also a European medalist. And making history, inspiring generations, especially here in Bordeaux. You look at the squad they have, the depth they have in Bordeaux. It's got to be the best region, not just for wine, but also for pole vaulting. Here goes Marie-Julie Bonindin. Third and final attempt runs through. You could just tell, she almost, the pole just slipped before she went to plant it and then couldn't quite recover. And unfortunately, that will see her exit the competition. Let's hear from her. Well, as the crowd acknowledge the hometown favorite, here we are. We're going to see Pedro Briaro. What can he do on his third attempt? 570 to potentially win this competition. Can he go clear? He's a long way off, unfortunately. So we've seen, we're getting on for 8 failures in a row now. Or should I say 8 athletes fail in a row. We've seen more failures than that in a row. We saw 3 from Benin and Iris, and we've seen multiple from these men as well. 570 proving beyond a lot of these men. Levelini, he knows what this means. He's the last one to vault this height now. Valentine, the Heartbreak Kid, he's being referred to as. Spent a life vaulting alongside his brothers. I mean, what a special career that is. What an opportunity. What a life he's lived. 34 years of age, and he's still very much at his best world position, by the way. 6th, wasn't he, in 2019? 585. Previous European indoor medalist as well. Is it going to be the fairy tale ending then for Valentin Le Villani? Quick on the runway, he's up, but he's not over. And he really did go down low, didn't he, before he got that height. And unfortunately, that's it. That will conclude the action here in Bordeaux at the All-Star meeting. What an arena, and what an evening it's been once again, hasn't it? As we look at that vault back, ever so close, did all he could. You kept it as tidy as possible, Valentin, and he knows how close, what could have been, but not to be this time around. On what's been a very, very special evening here in Bordeaux. As all of these athletes will recognize how fortunate they are to be present, and what is slowly becoming one of the most hotly anticipated matchups and pole vault evenings there is. And I believe going forward we should see more meetings like this. Give the athletes the exposure, the representation that they deserve. Give time to share their storylines and really share who these stars are. And watch it all unfold and play out. But the victors here then, it came down to count back in the end, but here's the scorecards for you. Marie-Julie Benin starts 2026. How she ended her indoor campaign last year with a victory over Imogen Iris. And that man will take home top prize. You can see 5 of them clear at 560. None of them could surpass 570 though. And Keaton Daniel, the American, will be the victor on the men's side. I've been your commentator, Matt Said, and it's been an absolute pleasure here in Bordeaux to take you through this all-star meeting. And it's all-star in many ways, not just the athletes, but in the presentation as well. But for now, good night, and I'll see you next time.
On va leur remettre les ceintures des vainqueurs de cette édition du Starperche. Elles sont cash. Dans quelques secondes, on va également faire le tirage au sort pour tous les cadeaux à gagner pour cette soirée. Alors, restez encore un tout petit peu avec nous. Prenez un peu l'air si vous en avez besoin, et puis revenez et voir si votre nom. Si bien sûr vous êtes abonné, vous avez participé au jeu. Et applaudir aussi une dernière fois, bien sûr, nos athlètes de la soirée qui nous ont fait un énorme concours. Qu'on attend, évidemment, ils sont en train, je pense, de ranger leurs affaires. Nous attendons les gagnantes et les gagnants du podium masculin et féminin de ce concours Starperche 2026. Alors qu'on se croirait dans un concert de rock, le rangement se fait direct. Dans 20 minutes, il n'y aura plus rien dans la salle, il n'y aura plus de nous. Les félicités de l'équipe de Starperche. D'ailleurs, pour celles et ceux qui sont encore là, je vous demanderai